Some men were written to steal hearts. Some men were written to shadow daddy your soul away or something. But often they all have something in common, which is creepiness. And creeps are today's video's main characters. We're going to talk about the creepiest love interests, and you can watch the light leave my eyes. Hi, my name's Rachel, and today we're diving into who's the creepiest man love interest in the books that I have read. We've got walking red flags, emotionally constipated men who believe that they are poets, and men who think possessive is a love language. No one is safe from the creepiness today, least of all me, who has read all of the books that we're going to talk about. The real MVP of this channel is, of course, my assistant Lou. Hey girl, I love you. She created a submission form for all of you to submit votes for who is the creepiest love interest, and then she created a PowerPoint of the creep for me to read to you. Everyone say thank you, Lou. Some of your submissions, much like last time, were unhinged. Which one of you put Judas from the Bible? Get up here. Get up here and explain yourself. I've read a lot of creepy men on my time in this channel, but a select few have truly and actually given me the ick. I cannot explain or understand why it is that the women in the books that we're going to talk about today fall for them. I don't understand that whatsoever. And it's sometimes worse when I audiobooked some of these, like Nocticadia, and the guy's voice is in my ear saying these things. Creep levels just off the charts. The quality of the men in these books is low, but the quality of the sound I listened to them on was great because I listened to audiobooks on my Raycons, and Raycon sponsored today's video. I've been a longtime Raycon user for years now. Even just recently, I wore mine to a Sleep Token concert because it gets loud in there. So I've been wearing Raycons for years, but their new Essential Open earbuds really knocked it out of the park. The new open design sits just outside of the ear canal. It delivers crystal clear sound while still letting me be aware of my surroundings, which is again super helpful when you want to do your daily dose of Sleep Token worship, but you're also a mom of two and have to make sure that your kids are not doing anything foolish. It's fully breathable, and the open fit lets me be alert while prioritizing my safety and comfort. It has a multi-angular hook, which is helpful because it makes sure that it will not fall out of my ear, while still maintaining the comfort that I need to ensure that I can wear these for hours at a time, which I do when I lock into these audiobooks. Speaking of long hours, it has a 36-hour battery life and IPX5 certified water resistance, making it the best companion come rain or shine. I got them in purple. They do come in multiple colors, so to grab yours in whatever color you like, click the link in the description box or go to buyraycon.com/readswithrachelopen to get 30% off. Again, that's buyraycon.com/readswithrachelopen. And thank you so much to Raycon for sponsoring today's video. Okay, so how we're gonna do this is we're gonna hop over to my computer and we're gonna go through and bracket rank all of these dudes and decide who is the creepiest. But before we do that, I want you to try to remember all of the different creepy love interests that I have done over the years. I have not done them, that I have done reviews on, over the years. Leave your guess for who you think is going to be number one before I say it. So if you can leave it down below now, and then we're going to go through and bracket rank, and then Lou is going to tell me who you guys thought versus who I thought. This will be fun. So leave your guesses for the number one creepiest down below before we get there. Okay, we are doing our bracket. Again, shout out to my assistant Lou, who has organized my entire life recently. I have barely been working. I used to do a ton of work every month, especially by myself, and I cannot thank Lou enough for all the work that she has done because it has been just such a tremendous blessing to me. So Lou put all of this together. Shout out to Lou, and we're gonna go through it. We decided, well, she mentioned that it would probably be a good idea to do a bracket this time, switch it up rather than tier ranking from last time. So this is again new for me, and I wouldn't be able to do it without her. So all right, we're gonna go through and we're going to do the bracket system until we figure out who is the worst. And a lot of these are from dudes who came from romantasy, but we sort of just let everybody pick across genres a little bit. So we have some romantasy, we have some paranormal romance. I think I just saw some, yeah, so fucking Mr. Darcy is in here, which whoever did that, rude. And these are done at random, so these are not this is not who's the absolute worst. We're just doing the bracket system. I just need to, real quick, I just need to say something. This pains me to answer Cross Redden from Silver Elite versus the Darkling, because the Darkling is objectively worse, but I am reading I'm rereading the last little third of Silver Elite right now to do the video. That's part 2. And this is pissing me off because I know that I should choose the Darkling, but I hate Cross so much. He's like such an empty bullshit love interest who's also a really bad guy who's like trying to be the Darkling of this book. His taut muscles. His chest is magnificent. Redden, I remind myself, Cross Redden. His father is a monster, and by extension, so is he. Everybody in this country would kill you, except the modified, and even then some of them too. Why is he any worse? Twice in 1 week, this is a record. Is this gonna become a habit? Honestly, it seems likely. He's like, so I'm being told that your fighting skills are terrible and yet you just kicked Kess's ass. So she says something snarky and he says, this mouth, he warns, his thumb scraping the seam of my lips until it reaches the cut in the corner, is going to get you in trouble, Dove. Barf. Don't touch me, fucker. She threatens this guy with a knife, and of course, who's there? Cross. He's like, either kill him or let him go. So she's like, yeah, I stole a knife from the warehouse. What of it? He reaches and is like, you know, hand it over, and she hands it to him and he says, so obedient. Ew. Let's just move on to this one because this is pissing me off. Hunt Athalar is like a cringy love interest, but he's not creepy that I recall. Hunt Athalar is just like a cronk. Devrick is objectively 100,000 times creepier than Hunt Athalar. So we're gonna have to go with Devrick. Okay, I have to hit start tournament, realized. Okay, so between Devrick and Hunt Athalar, absolutely Devrick from Nocticadia is gonna win between him and Hunt Athalar. Now, if you had put Devrick and say, and this is at random, so it just sort of got randomized, but if we had like, I had to pick between, say, Professor, what's his nuts from Gothic Hana versus Devrick, I don't know how the fuck I would have picked, but absolutely Devrick wins between him and Hunt Athalar. I have to go back to Cross and Darkling. So between Cross Redden and the Darkling, I feel like I must pick the Darkling because he was like way older. Alina was like 16 years old. The Darkling was doing a whole lot of genocide and he was in charge of it. So like obviously it's creepier for him to literally creep upon this like 17-year-old girl. So I have to pick him, but just know that I fucking hate Cross Redden. I really fucking do. But yeah, like objectively the Darkling is gonna be the creepier love interest. Oh my God. You guys and your Bible nominations. Judas from the Bible? Judas. So Ben from November 9 versus Judas. Okay. I mean, Ben from November 9 literally like stalked this girl after he had burnt down her house, never told her. He meets her every year on November 9, never, like he specifically keeps her from finding out this information. She absolutely had the right to know. And he's like really obsessed with the scars that he in fact caused from the fire that he started, that he refuses to tell her about, let alone apologize for. And then he writes a book about it and he's like, wait, forgive me. If you just read the book, you'll understand. No, you burnt down her house, didn't tell her it was you, stalked her, ended up like in this relationship. Like, you are such a bad, it's Ben. Like, Judas is a bad guy. But like, if we're talking about like Jesus, if we're like pretending that they were lovers, which like go off, if that had been true, like still I think what Ben did was creepier. What Judas did was definitely underhanded, and he owes his boyfriend Jesus an apology. My mother would be screaming right now if she heard me. But Ben was objectively the creepier love interest between Ben from November 9 and Judas from the Bible. Caleb is actually from Zodiac Academy, which every single person in Zodiac Academy is in fact a creep.
Harassment in Fairyland plus one fingering scene is a bully romance.
Julian from Caraval is underhanded and a little creepy, but Caleb was like a straight up bully. Like, Julian was a liar. He was creepy in a way, in that he was allowing this like 17-year-old girl to get like manipulated beyond belief, faked his death, all of this nonsense just to manipulate this girl. But like, he did it thinking that it was the right thing to do, versus Caleb's objectively a bad person. He's a bully. I don't understand Zodiac Academy, and I don't understand the love for that series at all. Like, if you love it, go off. But Caleb's, again, objectively the worst person between the two of them. Okay, so I think Zayd is supposed to be Zayden, right? So we'll go with Zayden. I don't see another Zayden on here, so that has to be Zayden, just without the N. All right, so between Edward Cullen and Zayden, this is hard. Like, don't get me wrong, I fucking hate Zayden. I really do, but is he creepier than Edward Cullen? No. I feel like this is a very bad, like, sure, Zayden does a lot of stuff that, like, really pisses me off and is, like, weirdly possessive and has absolutely, like, no moral compass whatsoever. Like, he's like, yes, my entire life has been the revolution, but I'll throw it all away because I love to bone you. It's stupid, but is it creepy, and is it creepier than Edward Cullen? Mr. I want to watch you eat ravioli, and I'm obsessed with you, and I want to read your mind, and I want to kill people, and also I want to suck your blood. Objectively, like, the creepier person here is Edward Cullen. I'm sorry. I know we all hate Zayden. Nobody hates Zayden more than I do, trust. But obviously it has to be Edward Cullen. I'm sorry. This is going to be interesting having to pick between Edward Cullen and the Darkling, because both of them are like 200-year-old men creeping on teenage girls. Atlas from It Ends With Us versus Jax from When the Wicked Play. Again, we're getting into, like, these are not romantasies. Some of these are just straight up contemporary. So some people, when they input their stuff, they misunderstood the assignment. It's fine. We're just having fun here anyway. It's not that serious. So Jax from When the Wicked Play is disgusting and way creepier than Atlas. When the Wicked Play is still, like, one of the absolute worst things I have ever read. And so I tell him my story, every dirty detail from my earliest childhood memories to what I've heard from others at the asylum, to what I experienced at the hands of the monsters within its walls. He just listens. I remember a story from when I was younger about the Lost Boys. Well, I'm the forgotten girl. Why are you telling me this? Jack says. Are you expecting me to ride in and save the day? Is that what this is, little terror? Am I supposed to feel sorry for you now?
Gonna cry?
Are you serious? You asked for my story, so I gave it to you. No, actually, he didn't ask for your story. That didn't happen. He said, who did this to you? As in the who buried you alive and caused that. He didn't say, give me your entire life story. No, you're looking for some white knight to ride in and save the day. Girl, what are you talking about? Well, guess what, little girl? No one is going to do that. I'm not a white knight. I'm the monster from nightmares, not the hero from fairy tales. Wow, that's something. I feel like you see me. Me, she says. I know I do. I think that's why I got so pissed after you told me your story. It felt like living mine all over again. Definitely different circumstances, but the pain and the same. I could feel it in my bones. Feel you in my bones. I'm not sure how fast or slow to go because of her past, but it seems I don't have to know. She sits up and straddles my lap, pressing her heat that's covered by a thin piece of fabric against the rigid length growing inside my jeans. You're a dirty girl, aren't you, baby? I thought you might be. And then it says that he goes downstairs on her, and it says, I slowly lick up and down each side of her mound. So is that like directly, what are we doing? Oh God, I don't want to read this at all. Is this what you want? You want your fucked? Yes. Yes what? Yes please, she begs loudly. Good girl, he says. Good. Blech. I want inside you, he says. How do you want it? She says to me like you hate me. Careful, little terror. There's a thin line between love and hate. It may be hard to tell which one I'm chasing. Pardon? I beg your utmost pardon. What does that mean? And then it says that he impales her cat with one hard thrust. Heaven, in Jax's POV. Heaven. I thought for sure I would end up in hell, but here I am, balls deep in heaven herself. So they're going at it, smacks her on the ass. He says, you love this? Yes, she says. Whose is it, baby? Mine. I can't hear you. Mine. And then it's the same thing with, whose cat is this? Yours, your cat. That guy is a creep. He's also quite stupid. Like, Atlas didn't really do all that much wrong. I mean, oh wait, no, there was that awful line where he was like, how long until you turn 18 or 16? How long until you turn old enough for me to bone was a question that an 18-year-old Atlas had. And that was really creepy. I did not like that at all. So, woof. That's really difficult. Atlas says things like, I'm not a white knight, I'm the monster from your nightmares, to a girl who was literally like taken captive from birth and institutionalized, but it was more like a kidnapping and false imprisonment in a mental health institution. And then he just, I don't know. Jax is a bad person and like objectively creepier. So we're just gonna go with that. Like Atlas did an ill thing at 18, but Jax is like a grown ass man being creepy. Ugh. Professor Orion versus Wicked from Wicked is the Reaper. So Wicked is the Reaper, I wouldn't say that he was even creepy. I would say that he was just not very forthcoming with information. Crashing into Wicked, I knock him over, sending him toppling into the cage. I slammed the door shut and flipped the lock before he launched himself at me with a snarl. Rowan, open this right now. And she's holding up a dagger that she stole from him. And she's like, well, I can't get close enough to slit his throat. And even if I could, I don't know that I can actually kill somebody. That doesn't seem like me. I don't do that. And she looks at him. She says, I'm sorry, not knowing what she's apologizing for. And then she books it again. Suddenly I went flying, something wrapping around my legs. I crashed into the ground, a heavy weight landing on top of me. I kicked and screamed and thrashed, but he had me. A low growl came from his throat as he flipped me over and pressed me into the cold ground, seizing my wrist in his hands. Let me go, I screamed. Hold still, he snarled. I'm going to. He trailed off, apparently at a loss for words. What? You're going to what? Leave me in the cage as bait for the Reaper and leave me to die? I still don't know what he was going to end that sentence with, to be honest with you. And he's like, that's not what. And then suddenly she realizes that he is hard as a rock. You aren't the first girl I brought here hoping to lure an ogre. It never worked though. And I let them all go. Eventually, I stopped trying to catch them that way. Not many wandered to this place, but a few years ago, a wizard happened to pass by. We have witches and wizards. Huh. None of them come on page. There were cringy moments in that book. There was a lot of like world building that didn't make sense, and some kind of like, that's a little bit out of pocket for you to say that. But I would not really call Wicked creepy. At least he's in a romantasy, versus Professor Orion is a professor preying on teenage girls. So like, again, the objectively correct choice here is to like pick the predator. So we're gonna go and pick the predator. Oh my god. Not you two. Caliban from The Deer and the Dragon, The Fox and the Falcon versus Rhysand from the ACOTAR series. Listen, I well and truly despise Rhysand in my bones. I hate him. Like, some of the stuff is just fucking funny to watch because the writing is so ridiculous. Me and Carlos have had good hee hee ha ha's together.
Says, oh god. This is the worst line in existence. I'm gonna hide. Rhys roared as
I want to hee hee ha ha too.
I'm not gonna
Read
make it. Rhys roared as he came, slamming into the hill. Outside, the mountains trembled. I can't.
I'm just picturing dude's knees. His knees just... The mountains...
Outside.
The actual mountains or his...
No, it is being so literal. I'm not joking. The mountains. Because this man orgasmed, there was a fucking avalanche.
God damn.
Outside, the mountains trembled.
He looks outside. Oh, shit. What happened?
Remaining snow rushing from them in a cascade of glittering white, only to be swallowed up by the waiting night below.
Are they stuck in the cabin now?
No, the avalanche didn't hit them.
Just the innocent people.
At least not the snow avalanche.
When you said mountains, I thought you were talking about his fucking tattoos. It's like you...
But I think both probably.
Dude, his fucking knees.
His knees.
Alright.
No, imagine being the person that lives at the bottom of the mountain and your entire...
Damn it, Rhysand's fucking
Your
again.
entire house is like ruined from an avalanche and you're like, what could have possibly done this? And then the High Lord shows up and he's like, oh.
He's just waving dick out.
This is so embarrassing.
My bad.
I'm so sorry.
My bad.
About this particular series, lots of jokes to be had, but also I don't think I can properly tell you how much I think it's disgusting that Rhysand did not want to tell Farah about her pregnancy being a health issue for her, and in fact threatened another woman when that woman, Nesta, said that he gave this information to Farah. Like, I think that that's really fucked up. Like, that's divorce material for me. It's creepy to me to withhold medical information from me about me, that's creepy to me. I don't like that shit. That kind of paternalistic nonsense gives me the absolute creep. Caliban, he says, if we start, I won't be able to stop. That is my most hated line in fiction. She says, I don't want you to stop. But what if you did want him to stop, is the thing. He just said he couldn't. Okay, I'm just saying, if my husband says that to me, I'm stabbing. What do you mean you're not able to stop? What does that mean? No, go on, elaborate. I just think that's the most unsexy thing. Oh my God, he has no self-control. And instead of like walking this back, which God, I wish he would, he like doubles down on it and says, I don't mean tonight, as in we don't have to blink tonight. I mean, I love you for you. I love our conversations and losing myself in the labyrinth of your mind. I love championing your dreams. Jesus Christ. I love catching your tears and righting your wrongs. I don't need anything more from you to be utterly fulfilled, but if you let me into this part of your life, you will be opening a door that I'd sooner die than close. If she doesn't continue to blink him, he's gonna die. I don't like him, but I think that if we stack like the things that Caliban does versus Rhysand does, Rhysand has absolutely no justification for the things that he does. For the positions that he puts Farah in, he has no justification for them. They are paternalistic and weird, and then he pretends, oh, Farah, it's your choice. It's not. She doesn't get choices when she's around you. You are just Tamlin with dark hair. I think I simply must say that it's Rhysand. I don't like that Caliban says stuff like insinuating like, even if I wanted to stop during, he couldn't. But that's like about as creepy as he gets, other than, being the son of the devil. But like, he hasn't really done anything in his tenure as the son of the devil that I would say is creepy, other than just like exist as a demon. I don't know. Objectively, again, it's Rhysand. Oh my God, Cardan versus Kingfisher. Let's be serious. Kingfisher is gross. I don't like him. Cardan really doesn't do anything wrong. Like, if you think about Kingfisher, he says things like, are you asking how big my member is, Osha? And, calls her Osha, which is, creepy. Apparently his dick is an occupational safety hazard. And also, I just like that nickname is so bad. But he said something to the effect of like, if I you the way I want to, you wouldn't survive. I've fucked plenty of humans. Does that surprise you? Yes, seeing as you seem to hate us so much. I don't hate your kind. I'm just disappointed by how breakable you are. If I held you down and fucked you the way I'm imagining you right now, I doubt you'd survive it. Is that a threat? I wouldn't you if you were the last living. Don't bother. Lying is pointless with your heart betraying you so loudly. It's beating fast because I'm afraid. Of me? No, you're not. You should be, but you're not. That's one of the things I like most about you. Your body is betraying you in other ways. I could smell you, little Osha. I'm thinking about drinking the sweet nectar you're making from me straight from the fucking cup. Oh my God, ew, David! Which is like top tier creepo shit. I really hate Kingfisher. No, absolutely not. He wins. Liam is from the Book of Azrael, which was a pretty bad book. But I don't know that I would ever call him creepy. He's honestly kind of noble. Grim from Lightlark is probably the creepier one, just because like he's a bad guy. So, by virtue of being the badder guy, he wins this. Liam, again, is pretty noble, so Liam never stood a chance of getting voted up here. Mr. Darcy from Pride and Prejudice versus Lorien from A Court So Cruel and Lovely. Let's think about Mr. Darcy. He's never done anything wrong, other than, be rich and be annoying about it sometimes. Lorien, on the other hand, says things like, I don't want her to be a victim, and, demonizes the word victim, says things like, the moment that Wildcat walked in, my hardened, and also does the thing where he's like, if we start, I won't be able to stop. I don't think Mr. Darcy would ever say, hey, Elizabeth, if we start, doing the hanky-panky, I don't think we'll be able to stop. So I'm thinking that it's Lorien. I don't know about you guys. Maven from Red Queen versus Desson. That's actually really difficult to pick. Desson from The Pawn and the Puppet is a stalker. He's disgusting, he's gross, he kills people, he's mean, he's nasty. Maven is a bully, and all I have to say is 2 words, dead baby. He's mean, he's nasty, he's gross, but Desson is objectively like a serial killing, really bad person who I just hold a lot of disdain for that book and its OCD rep and the transphobia. So I'm gonna go with Dessen, but it was difficult to choose between the two of them. Oh no. The villain from Assistant to the Villain, whose name is also Tristan, or Vad from Gothicana. So I don't like the infantilization of Evie Sage from Assistant to the Villain. I do think it gives me the ick that that's what the villain is attracted to in Evie, is her infantilization. But Vad, again, not to exhaust the word objectively to the point where it makes you want to throw up and start a drinking game, how much I use it, Vad's objectively worse. Like, Vad is actually disgustingly creepy. Like, everything about him screams creepy. Vad is probably the creepiest guy on here. Like, if he doesn't win, I'll be shocked.
It brings up being jealous of her classmates, you know, the kids who are actually her age, again, and says, I'm gonna make you like a firecracker around my I hate it here. This is fucking ridiculous. He says, at finding out she is a virgin, you chose the wrong guy for your first time, little crow, but it's too late now. I'm going to f you so raw you'll never get me out. This pussy is mine. Jail.
We're gonna go with Vad. I don't know. He's... Ew. Jax from Once Upon a Broken Heart versus Bjorn. So I don't know. Both of these dudes are just sort of like cringy. Jax, they both like lie. Well, I don't know that Bjorn really lied. Jax lies a lot, and that, you know, makes him like not a good person. I don't know that I would call him a creep. What is a creep is really the question here, right? So I'm gonna go with Jax because he's the worst person between the two of them. But it's going to end up being between Jax and Vad, and just know that Vad far surpasses Jax from Once Upon a Broken Heart as far as whether or not the two of them are creepy. Like, Vad is creepo numero uno, like public enemy number one. Whereas, like, Bjorn from A Fate Inked in Blood, he just lied a lot to Freya, or like he insinuated things. I mean, he wasn't creepy at all. Like, I'm surprised that he's on here at all. So between the two of them, like, Jax is worse, but that's not really like a creep thing. Khan from When the Moon Hatched versus Beast from The Beast. Khan from When the Moon Hatched is not creepy at all.
He looks at her, he's like, I see you, Rave.
You cannot die. I see.
She's like, I don't know what you mean. I fucking see you. And so she's like, obviously horny. And he's like, what do you need, Moonbeam? I don't like that nickname. I don't like many nicknames, and I especially do not like this one. I also don't like that she's not asking, why the fuck are you calling me Moonbeam?
He's just a guy trying to get his wife back. That's really all it is. He's just a romantasy love interest. I wouldn't call him creepy at all. I don't know. Let's ask Lou if she made any notes. So she made some notes about things that I said during When the Moon Hatched, but I can tell you that what I said about Beast was probably much worse. I truly believe, like, well in my soul, that the Beast has fleas, and for that, and I have like a phobia of fleas, so for that reason, I'm choosing Beast.
And she sees the Beast in a dark corridor, sort of like looming and watching with his beastie eyeballs. And she goes up to him for some reason, and she's like about to reach out for him, and he says, my female. Ew, I don't like that. Touch me, take your fill. I'm full. I'm stuffed. I couldn't possibly. But then they hear like a racket, and she's like, oh, I couldn't possibly touch him.
No. Oh, yes.
Oh no!
Oh, yes.
And then he tells her, eat your fill at supper. You need your energy when I require my new wife to bathe me. Require? Who's normally bathing you? Jesus. So he does, in fact, have her bathe him later after dinner. And he says, wash me, wife. Wash yourself. Yeah, Belle, get that flea shampoo for this cat who can't bathe himself. Who is bathing him normally? That's my question.
Kai from Powerless versus Gale from The Hunger Games. These dudes are the same. Like, it's funny that they got paired up against each other. I could literally just pick one. They're the same. I'm gonna go with Kai just because I hate Powerless so much, like, as a book. But those dudes, to me, are basically the same person. I'm rooting for their downfalls. All right, let's do this. We're on to the second brackets. Caleb versus Devrick. So Devrick is disgusting, hunts down people, hunted down a sex worker, and was like, yeah, I'm gonna test on her. And then he was like, actually, I can't do this. I need to go get my girlfriend who's kind of too young for me, who I stole the sex content off her phone. And
I'd be damned if I'd let some newly minted adolescent attempt the same. I just want to remind you that she just called by the guy who's going to bone her later a newly minted adolescent. He's about to see her vagina, and he just called her a newly minted adolescent. Jail, FBI. I clicked on the photo icon, and the image in the small preview window had me frowning. I could make out what looked like her hand beneath the hem of her skirt. Fuck. Why look when I had a perfectly good idea of what was on that video? I don't know, you just called her a newly minted adolescent, so your guess is as good as mine. Her arrived in perfect view, shaved clean of every hair, and when she pressed 2 fingers up against her folds, come on, opening herself up, I bit my knuckles while staring down at that beautiful pink shell. Every line of this is grosser than the last.
Deverick is objectively more disgusting than Caleb, the high school bully. It's the grown-ass man preying on a younger woman and also literally preying on a sex worker to put worms in her and test her, but then backing out at the last second, but then never telling his girlfriend, and that basically happened to her mom. Deverick's creepier. It's Deverick. Far and away, worlds away, Deverick is creepier than Caleb from Zodiac Academy. Edward Cullen versus the Darkling. The Darkling stayed a villain, right? So are they both old men preying on younger women? Yeah. But Edward Cullen technically died a teenager and maintained that. So like, did his brain develop as a vampire? I don't know. The Darkling did. The Darkling is a grown-ass man. And also genocidal. So we're gonna go with Darkling. Sorry, I know we hate Edward Cullen here, but we have to be practical. Ben from November 9, who burned down the love interest house, versus Jax from When the Wicked Play. I feel like Jax from When the Wicked Play would do what Ben did and worse, and probably has. So between the two of them, unfortunately, I have to put Jax from When the Wicked Play, but just know that I always and forever hate Ben. Professor Orion versus Rhysand. I think that the things that Rhysand did, Professor Orion would do. But Rhysand's crimes are a longer list. At least I didn't continue Zodiac Academy. I read all 4 of the books in 4.5 books in the ACOTAR series so far, and Rhysand's crimes that I know of are a longer list, especially towards women. Professor Orion is a creep though for going after a student. This is hard. I really fucking hate Rhysand, and I know more of his crimes, so it just makes sense to pick Rhysand at this point, right? We're gonna go with that. Kingfisher from Quicksilver versus Grimm from Lightlark. So I would say that Kingfisher is more gross just for these lines in the sex scenes alone.
Hey, how the fuck did you end up picking up Carrion instead of Hayden? Now they're having this conversation chapters later. You said you could find my brother because we had the same parents. That it'd be easy since you were covered in my blood. When you were grinding yourself all over my lap, you marked me up very sufficiently. I detected your scent from 3 miles away. Plastered all over that boy. Pheromones are signal flares to our noses, little Osha. That means that instead of detecting her brother, he detected her ex-lover who still had her pheromones on him months later. So he tracked her friend by her vagina juice that is somehow still on that dude months later. Got it. He still smells of you even now. I slept with him months ago. Months. It was once, and I was drunk, and he's never let me live it down since. There's no way you can still smell it on him. There's every way. I'd know the smell of you anywhere, on anyone. I'd know it blind and in the dark.
Oh my god, ew, David!
Across a fucking sea, I'd be able to scent you. They're having this conversation over dinner. Can you believe that? I'm dying inside.
Yeah, no, we're gonna go with Kingfisher. I can't stand Grimm from Lightlark, but Kingfisher it gave me way more of the ick. He's way creepier. Lorien from A Court That's Cruel and Lovely, or Dessen from The Pawn and the Puppet. Far and away, Dessen, between the two of these dudes, it's 100% Dessen. He's worse. Dessen is so gross. So now we're down to Vad from Gothicana versus Jax from Once Upon a Broken Heart. And again, between the two of these dudes, Vad and Jax, that is far and away, the professor from Gothicana is way creepier than Jax.
She goes off again alone with Vod. Great decision making. And he asks her to tell him what is going on. Vod finds out information about her and tells her he wants her to like explain stuff while they're fooling around. And she's like, isn't this a weird conversation to explain my backstory further while we're fooling around? And it says, it will keep your mind from hyperventilating. Hey, did you know that minds could ventilate? Me neither. Everybody's so creative. My mother is schizophrenic, she said as he touched her thighs. It felt so bizarre talking about this while he touched her with sexual intent. Congrats, bitch, you're correct. It is bizarre.
Jax really doesn't do anything I would say that's creepy. He does things that are wrong. Selfish, self-absorbed, kind of a dick, but not creepy. It's 100% Vad. Vad literally gives me the creeps. And between Beast and Kai, absolutely, of course it's Beast, Mr. Flea Shampoo. Ew.
Cool, great. But I won't forget that during Schmeck's, he said, if you have second thoughts, oh well, too bad. I won't forget. Oh, by the way, the Schmeck scene had these really weird moments over and over, like at least 3 times, where he is marveling at how small she is compared to him. And then he's like, and she's so pale and my fur is so dark compared to hers. And I was like, oh, and then he says he bones her savagely.
All right, now we're between Devrick from Nocticadia versus the Darkling. And Devrick from Nocticadia and the Darkling probably do similar stuff. Like the Darkling would obviously test on people, but I really fucking hate Devrick. So I'm choosing him. I think he's creepier. I think he's creepier because of the porn on the phone thing and the never telling your girlfriend that you were going to test on a sex worker, even though that literally happened to her mom. I think that he's disgusting. It has to be Devrick. Now between Jax from When the Wicked Play and Rhysand, oh no, this might be where Rhysand drops off. Jax is so gross and Rhysand like morally is creepy. Jax is like physically doing creepy things. Unfortunately, Rhysand's gonna drop off and I have to pick Jax. Just know that I hate him. I hate Rhysand so much. Praying for your downfall, buddy. But absolutely, like, Jax is gross and creepier. Oh, this is a hard one. Kingfisher from Quicksilver versus Dessen from The Pawn and the Puppet. I mean, Dessen's a bad guy, so I would say that the guy with no scruples who's like very like manipulating this girl just to like be gross and creepy about it is worse than Kingfisher. Ugh, we're getting down to the wire here. Vad versus Beast, it's Vad. It's Vad. It's Vad. It's Vad. It's Vad. Like the Beast is just gross and like gives me the ick, but Vad versus Beast, it's definitely Vad. We're gonna come down to Vad and Devrick, aren't we? They're two sides of the same coin. Yeah, so between Devrick and Jax, Devrick from Nocticadia is worse than Jax. I would think. I don't even know that even Jax from When the Wicked Play would put worms into the body of a sex worker just to see how it pans out scientifically. I don't think that's a thing that Jax would do. So between Dessen and Vad, this is difficult. Dessen from The Pawn and the Puppet versus Vad. We're gonna have to phone a friend. We're calling Natalie. Come on, bitch. Is my phone gonna freeze right now of all times? Bitch, answer the phone. How am I supposed to do this? I don't know. I need Natalie's help with that one. That's really difficult. All right, let's think of it this way. Who would best go up against, I already said, between Devrick and Vad, it's really difficult to pick. Dessen versus Vad. So Dessen knowingly watches all of this horrible stuff happen to our main character. What's her name? Skyla or whatever in The Pawn and the Puppet. And does fuck all about it, right? Takes her like running around the whole of this weird world called, what is it called again? Dementia. But Vad is so gross. Like weirdly, like I think he's into the infantilization of Corvina Clem in Gothicana, and that gives me the greatest ick. He like knows that she's going through all this stuff with her mental health, with her mom's mental health, and I don't understand like how you can be like, it's creepy to me to like watch somebody go through all this stuff and just be like, whatever, I want to fuck you and this is our madness. I mean, these dudes sound so similar. The only difference is that Vad is in a position of power being a professor that Dessen is not, as a patient at the mental health institution that whatever her name, Skylena, that's her name, Skylena is working at, but then gets like, you know, tortured at. Let's see what Natalie says. Hi.
What?
I have to ask you a pregunta. If you were to say between what you know about Vad from Gothicana, the creepy professor who fucks the love interest and says, this is our madness, versus Dessen from The Pawn and the Puppet, which of these dudes is creepier?
That's hard for me to say because I haven't read Gothicana yet, so I don't know.
So we have a professor who is sleeping with a student. It is college, but she has like nobody in her corner, and he just like takes advantage of that, and he knows that she's like obviously going through some mental health stuff and does not get her any care or attention for this. So like, is that position of power of him being a professor worse than Dessen, who's not in a position of power, or is he?
I think Dessen is in a position of power. It's just not clear what the power is, because he's constantly like, I'll let you know when the time comes, or we've been here before, like alluding that he's been there the whole time.
Well, wouldn't you know it, that was no help at all. We did end up making fun of Travis Kelce though, so that was fun. I think that I'm gonna have to go back to the fact that most of what I know about what happens with Dessen and Skylena is because Natalie has read the remaining books in that series, versus I've only read The Pawn and the Puppet. So I can only go with what I know, and I think that with what I know, the creepier person is Vad. And here we are, professor versus professor, Deverick versus Vad, which is hilarious that it has come to this. What a tangled web the professors weave and catch their women students in. Wow, this is really difficult. Wait, no, it's not, because only one of these dudes has tried to kidnap a sex worker to then put worms in her to then create a serum with which to cure himself. So while they are both extremely creepy men who prey upon younger women who they're in positions of power over, 1000% actually it's Deverick. Deverick wins. I will never get over him picking up a sex worker with the intended purpose. He was like, I don't have enough time to find a bad guy. So you're just going to pick up a sex worker? Why don't you just pick up, like, you're a bad person. I'm going to pick up somebody nobody will miss. You're a bad person. You're gross. And once your girlfriend finds out, she might think less of you, which is why you never told her. It's Deverick. Deverick wins. Deverick is creepiest romantasy love interest, even though he wasn't in a romantasy. He was in a, was it even paranormal? I don't even think it was paranormal. It was literally just, oh my gosh, this was just a dark academia. Somehow the guy from not a romantasy won creepiest romantasy love interest. So this is just creepiest love interest. Here we are. Deverick wins to me. Now let's see what y'all had to say about, you know, what you think is the creepiest. Okay, the moment that all of you have been waiting for, because Lou did such a good job last time. She has created a PDF for me to react to in what looks to be Comic Sans mostly. Welcome to creepiest romantasy and some others in parentheses. Dudes, the showdown. Context. Throughout your time on YouTube, you've met the cream of the crop of romantasy dudes. They're all tall, dark, mysterious, and just copies of the same character. Sarah J. Maas, the damage you've done. But which of those has the biggest just kidding. Which one is the absolute creepiest? That's for you to decide and your audience to put bets on. Methodology. We have once again used our degrees. This is actually true. To conduct exploratory data analysis on your audience this time around, we used aided recalls to prompt organic, grass-fed, free-roaming answers from your audience. This is because y'all can't really agree on how to spell things, and treating that data was insane. No hard feelings. Love y'all. This is amazing. I already love this. Let's see who got it right and who is now in debt by gambling. I lost everything. So without further ado, everybody, a round of applause for... He's just a little bit worse, but he is worse. That is funny, though, that we were almost aligned on this. People's opinion of that is basically, you would think it can't get worse than the fact that this is his barely legal manic pixie goth girl student, but then 8 words, I am a pirate and I will plunder. Exactly, it's disgusting. They aren't wrong though, the whole character is a brother moment. Here's the feedback from the audience. You would think it can't get worse than the fact that this is a guy named Vad thirsting over his barely legal manic pixie goth girl student, but then 8 words, I am a pirate and I will plunder. He reads like he's from a Hermione Snape fanfic with the serial numbers filed off, and it's gross. Someone just said jail. Someone just said just ill. I'm the wrong man to lose your virginity to, he said. Nope, fuck right off the face of the earth. Go to prison, go to the Titanic. I know we all know why. Little crow, what if I hurled myself into the sun, huh? If this was a who is the worst guy ever, Rhysand would win, but in the creepy department, it's Mr. This Is Our Madness. Deverick is worse than Rhysand, in my opinion. Morally, yeah, Zevrik. This man, Vad, needs to be drawn and quartered, receive the pair of anguish, his head on the guillotine, put in the Iron Maiden, and inside the blazing bull, this man is the reddest of flags! The performative Edgar Allan Poe obsession. And oh yeah, he's sleeping with his student and lusting after her in class. He also unironically uses the words, magic eyes, magic pussy. He sure did. Thank you, commenter. And if that isn't creepy, I don't know what is. Exactly. A note on the data. In the last video, people said Violet would be the dumbest because it's the most popular series, which is a possibility with these types of research and something you have to have no control over. That being said, the popularity x creepy correlation wasn't exactly even this round except for Rhysand, but he tried very hard for the position. He sure did. Maybe Violet is just that dumb. Lou voted for Peyton though. Fair enough. These are the top 10 creeps from the community. Vad from Gothicana, Rhysand from Avatar. So happy we're on the same page, guys. Yay! Yeah, Kingfisher from Quicksilver, Grim from Lightlark, Kai from Powerless, Cross from Silver Elite, Zayden from Fourth Wing, Bjorn from A Fate Inked in Blood, Villain from Assistant to the Villain. We cannot forget the lovely things said about our feminist king, Rhysand. And here's the feedback from the audience. Every time he talks to Farah, he reminds me of a very greasy guy. One of those nice guys who will call a woman a whore if she rejects him. Oh my God, Patrick Rothfuss, is that you? Not to mention the whole pregnancy thing. Thank you. Thank you. I feel like everyone got over the body paint bit in the first book too quickly. We did get over the body paint in the first book too quickly. Low level on his list of war crimes, I guess. Also the blueprint for most of these guys. Objectively true. One does not force his mate to risk her life to get her own wedding ring. Fair. Run a court like that and call himself the best to ever do it. Hide crucial information from said mate about her family and health while claiming she's your worthy equal, deserving of respect, and also a great ruler. This uneducated girl also blah blah, illusion of choice, blah blah. Getting locked in a mansion is horrible, but being physically cut off from everyone in an impenetrable bubble is cute. Threatening your family member with death, Nesta, is fine. The double standards, man. Thank you. Genuinely thank you. He's a leftist icon. As a leftist, can't say that I feel like that's true, but he keeps vital information about his wife's pregnancy. But he thinks that it would be cool to have an empire. But in the first book, he treated Farah like crap. But he's always acting like a man with less than a brain cell when he is with his misogynistic brothers. But his whole kingdom is a rhetoric about Israel is good and Palestine bad. But okay, I think I made my point. Okay, I don't think that he is a leftist icon. Like, I think that him being like super in charge and hoarding all this money, despite the fact that he like puts it back into his community, he doesn't put enough back into his community for me to call him a leftist icon. But that's just me. Bro has her in a suicide pact with him that no one else knows about while she's pregnant with the baby that could kill her, and he didn't tell her about it. That's so insidious to me, I can't get over it. This man was the best solution to protect her under the mountain. He was checks notes, getting her drunk, and have her dress in next to nothing and grind on his lap. Decided that showing up to her wedding was the perfect time to enact the bargain they made, stalking her through the stupid bond. Oh yeah, and he withheld information from her time and time again. God knows I'd never get over the drugging if I was what's-her-face, Farah. But then he doesn't tell her about the very real reproductive risks she faced. No, sorry, it's weird, it's creepy, it's controlling as hell. Like what does Miss Girl having no bodily autonomy, why does that really get you off, my guy? Thank you. Like how Ernest Rutherford is the father of nuclear physics, Rhysand is the father of sexual harassment is hot. If the guy is rich, immortal, and has a huge dong. He started the pervy shadow daddy Fae trend, and I think as the OG, he will always remain the worst because he set the precedent for the rest of the creeps to slither into romantasy. Plus, if Rhysand actually looked like his age, ACOTAR would be a horror story. What a freak. We also had your audience submit their creepiest nominations. Here's a few honorable mention. Bonus if it counts, Gale from the Hunger Games. Boy committed war crimes. He did. That is true. On Katniss's most beloved family member, never respected her in her decisions, wanted her all to himself, and did not give a shit about her happiness and safety. There are romance authors out there who prefer him to Peeta based on his terrible personality and do not have the media literacy skills to understand why Peeta was superior. Oh! Spoiler alert, it's not just because he's a sweet boy, it's because Peeta represents what Katniss actually needs and what is best for her. Collins literally spelled it out at the end of Mockingjay. please feel free to include this rant about Gale as a side tangent, even if he doesn't make it in as into the bracket, but he did. Anyone, especially a writer who thinks Gale is the better love interest, should be taken as unseriously as possible. Thank you and good night. We're having some big feelings. I think that Gale, again, he was paired up against Kai, and they're about the same as far as war crimes and stuff, but like the rest of these people, again, like when you think about like Deverick, you can understand why Gale didn't win. But yeah, he's definitely an honorable mention for all the reasons stated. The lack of respect, the war crimes, etc., etc. Edward Cullen, he thought she smelled tasty and so he liked her. Short, sweet, and to the point. Got it. Probably doesn't count because wrong genre. True, but we're just having fun here. But the one from Colleen Hoover's November 9. If it wasn't a Colleen Hoover book, it would be a psychological horror novel. You are objectively correct. Dude scars her for life, literally scars, then stalks her and gets her to fall in love with him, all while withholding that he's the one who set her home on fire. Straight to jail, thank you. Maybe Judas from the Bible for kissing what's his nuts without consent. Citation needed though, because I'm Jewish. To be honest, everything I remember about Judas has basically just left my brain. There's a lot of things that have stuck around, but not much about Judas. I honestly love the all of the people making like Jesus Mpreg fic now. It's hilarious. And there is like Jesus Judas fic out there, and what I know about that surpasses what I remember about actual Judas from the Bible. Anyway, I don't think any of them aren't creeps to some degree, unless we can count Zayd, but I wouldn't wish that on you, especially after Natalie earned her Purple Heart for the whole series. Yeah, so I completely, if I had read Haunting Adeline, it obviously would have probably ended up on here, despite the fact that this was supposed to be romantasy and that's contemporary. But the thing about that series is that there are very few books that are on my no, never, cannot ever do it, it's not for me specifically list, and that is one of them. That book is very specifically on my nope, never gonna happen list. Dishonorable mention, Maven from Red Queen. What do you mean he left her a murdered infant and carved the letter M into her chest? Thank you! Maven from Red Queen is a huge creepo. As I said earlier, dead baby. Edward Cullen 100%. He's like Santa watching Bella when she's sleeping. Knows when she's awake, sniffing her, stalking her through the mind reading of others. He's the original fantasy creep. I can't believe I thought that behavior was so cute when I was 13 years old. Yeah, that's fair. Any of the fuckers from Zodiac Academy. True. Literally any of them. Literally every single one. Especially the one who tricked one of the twins into thinking he liked her so he could drown her in the woods and shave her head. Do I know any of these characters' names? Absolutely I do not. I wish I could forget. Cassian Batboy. Is that his real last name? It is now. His inner monologue is so gross and sexual. His only personality trait is being a gym bro with a big dick. I immediately lose respect for anyone who quotes the headboard scene unironically. Yeah, that's fair. Also, why is it that 90% of the art of him out there is AI generated Henry Cavill, Jason Momoa chimeras? Is it really? How weird. I think that it's because there was this picture of Henry Cavill and Jason Momoa doing like promo for the DC movies, and people were like, oh my god, this is so Rhysand and Cassian, and I think it evolved from there. Mal from Shadow and Bone, he's just off-putting. So I wouldn't call Mal creepy, but Mal from Shadow and Bone in the books, okay, in the books, the TV show fixed this, but in the books, Mal from Shadow and Bone sucks. I don't care that he's a teenager. There is no reason for him to be that mean to Alina and say that she's hard to feed when she just needs some fucking food. He's gross. If my son acts like that with his partner when he's a teenager, I will literally ground my son. My teenage sons will know better. Conclusions. 1,000 years in jail to Vad for being a creepy ass groomer with the worst sex talk known to mankind. 950 years jail to Rhysand for hiding the high risk of his wife's pregnancy from her, but also being the blueprint for all that was to come. True. 500 years to jail for everyone else, especially Ben from November 9. We're all gonna wash our eyes with bleach now. Love you. That was fun. Did you have fun? These were so creepy. What's funny is, like, we grouped all of the men together in this video, and so naturally the men are going to show up and call me a misandrist. And in the last video where I grouped together all of the women protagonists that I've read
and ranked them based on like which ones are the most stupid. I got called a misogynist. Anyways, I look forward to the men being upset, especially because I once again took the opportunity to throw Patrick Rothfuss under the bus. This was really fun. I again cannot thank you guys enough for submitting all of your comments. These were so fun to read. I have so much fun doing these videos. If you have an idea for another one, another like bracket or tier ranking video, please comment them down below. I am so interested in doing more of these. Lou does such a good job making these these things in fucking Comic Sans. I'm having such a blast. So thank you for proving right that I was right to have VOD in you know the second to highest creepo. I feel very validated. So thank you for validating that VOD from Gothicana is fucking disgusting. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Comments, questions down below if you feel like it. If you made it this far, you can leave a cat emoji for this guy. Thanks for being here. See you next time. Bye.
Hi, before I go, I have to say thank you for being a friend to my Therapy Bills patrons, and those are Alexander, Ashley H, Beck, Call Me Kodiak, Chocos, Homesick for Taiwan, DJ Rocktopus, Ellie, Emerald Dodge, Eric D, Jade, Jill, John E, Jory, Julie, Kai Brecker has not read Six of Crows, Kalain OK, Katya, Quinn, Lady Kittybug, Lady Chips Loves Pride, Lemon Jelly, Lex, Other Lex, Lily, Maddie Miss, Megwin Rose, Melissa, Mixer Boneless, Not So Secretly a Skeleton, Peggy Luhu, Piloting SRN, Rain, Ree, SJ, Samar, Scarlet, Steph B, 3 Raccoons in a Trench Coat, Urchin Audrey, and White Raven 13. Thank you all so much for being here and for being a friend. Huge thank you to my Potato Starch Marxist patrons, Aaron, Alejandra, Alicia, Bobisha, Banana, Fofana, Fofisha. What are we doing? Alicia, Althea, Amanda D, Andy, Angelica, Artie the Ninth, Ava, Barry, Baywing, Beck, Blue Moon Syrup, Bookish by Jenna, Bookish Rabbit, Bridget 108, Kate B, Caitlin, Carlin, Carly, Casper, Kate, Kathy, Celeste, Che, Cole, Colleen, Corwin, Cosmic Frog, Courtney, Darius, Danielle, Danita, Darren, Desiree Michelle, Dilf Enthusiast, Dorothea Supports Public Education, Draco-chan, Drive-By Thinker, Ebby, Emma, Aaron with 2 E's, Erica May, Aaron Starlight, Fox Waifu, Francis, Gadarn, Hannah C, Helen P, Hurry Singh, JM Tennant, Jackalope Max, Jay is on Olympus, Jelly V, Jen Michelle, Genderqueer, Jenny G, Jesse Ives, Jessa Sue, Jojo Bookish, Juicy Wizard, Caitlin M, Katie L, Katrina, Kayla, Kaylee, Kayala, Kendra, Kiara, KMTB, Kayana, Laughing Cat Dog, Laura is Angry, Lauren G, Lazarus Ray, Lindsay M, LP, Lou Siri, Lustful Octopus, Martin, Mataraptor, Madison, Man-Eating Plant, Megan, Malara, Mima Who, Morgan the Friendly Ghost, Myth Lesbian, NM Rap, Natural Blues, Nicole G, Paige P, Penelope, Penny Chilling, Foxglove, Pick a God and Pray, Plague Carrier, Pandemonium, Queen Cereal, Rach, Rachel B, Rebecca, Rebecca R, Ren Flynn, Rhea, Reese, Ronnie, Rosie, Sikoria, Saintbringer, Sakya Lume, Sarah H, Sarah the Bear, Shamed, Shannon, Sheen Onion, Sean, Sophie, Talia, That One Cute Chick, This Is Not a Trap, Too Thick to Work Tomorrow, Triple M, Tito Phoenix, and Unicorn Jenny. Thank you all so much for being a friend.